Welcome back to the channel, everyone. You do see it in the thumbnail. Kobe leaving. Could this be true? There is a bit of a breaking news from David Ornstein with regards to Kobe Mainoo and his future at Manchester United. We are going to be previewing our League Cup Carabao Cup game against Grimsby Town, a team that is in League 2. Yes, they are quite low in the English table in terms of leagues. But then again, this is a team that can cause an upset because they are going to be up for it. It's a small town club. It's Manchester United coming to their home. So it's going to be an intense game for them, and they're definitely going to want to get a result, put it on us, and cause a massive upset, as these things normally do happen in these types of cup games. And of course, let's be honest, Ruben Amorim, Manchester United don't come into this game with the greatest confidence, considering we played well but lost to Arsenal, and then again played well but then ended up drawing the game, due to our own lackluster performances and, certain things definitely not going the way we thought it would at the beginning of the season. Now, Grimsby Town themselves have started their season well. They just had a 3-1 victory over the weekend past. And they certainly will have good confidence, and a bit of momentum for this particular game. But all the focus will be on Manchester United. It will be on Ruben Amorim, based on the decisions that he made in the Fulham game that debatably was basically making Manchester United worse from what we were when we played in the first half with the players that were on the pitch. And on the other hand, there needs to be a win in order for us to go through to the next round. And with the new rules of the League Cup, after 90 minutes, after extra time, if it's still a draw, there's penalties. There is a winner determined on the night. So there's no replay for us to go back to Old Trafford and take a bit of time. No. Which in hindsight would probably make you think that Ruben Amorim would put out a strong 11. He's not going to probably look to rotate because, again, players need match fitness, match sharpness, etc. And even though we are going to a team in League 2, the ground will obviously be smaller, and maybe the pitch might not be as good as we wanted to have. But then again, Amorim could also choose to rotate, but if he rotates too much, we might be weaker because in certain positions we don't actually have the best replacement for example, Casemiro to Ugarte. It's not really that much of a difference. Casemiro gives you a lot on the ball because of his ball playing abilities, but defensively in terms of covering ground, he doesn't give you what Ugarte can give you. But then again, Ugarte isn't as good on the ball as Casemiro. So there's so many issues when you try and replace a player, when you try and rotate in this particular case for Ruben Amorim. And in certain positions, he does have options. Yes, let's not forget that we have strength in the attacking positions, of course. Defensively, we are also kind of good, I would believe. But it is the midfield and the goalkeeping situation that seems to be and is the main problem for United and Ruben Amorim. Now, this particular time around, in my opinion, Amorim should rotate, but not rotate to the point that we are a weaker side or easier to play against. Because let's be honest, we are still easy to play against in terms of people breaking through our midfield and bypassing our press, with one or two passes, i.e. the game against Fulham. When they overloaded our midfield, we kind of had to press them in order to win the ball, but in doing so, leaving gaps in behind, and that is how, Fulham tended to win the ball and control the ball also for much of the second half. Now, for me in this game, I do want Ruben Amorim to rotate. But again, we need to remember, this is the team I would go with. This is not who Ruben Amorim would pick. This is not a predicted 11 where I'm going to try and predict who Amorim, would be starting in games for Manchester United. No. This is who I would want Ruben Amorim to start for these particular games. Always remember that when I'm giving you my starting 11. So for me, I would go with Tom Heaton in goal. And the reason why I would do that is simply because Bayender isn't any, confident when it comes to corners and set pieces. And yes, he can make saves, but it's not different to the saves that Onana can make. And Onana himself hasn't played for Manchester United this season yet. And there could be something between him and Amarim going on, because it's weird that for me, Bayern, plays 2 games in a row with Onana being fit and on the bench. So you could have started Onana, and I don't think there would have been any difference in terms of the result. Maybe against Arsenal he does better, but again, these are all ifs, buts, and maybes. But for me, Tom Heaton, his English experience, he knows the culture. I'm sure he will be able to do well with the way Grimsby Town are going to be very aggressive from corners, because they've obviously seen what happened against Fulham, what happened against Arsenal, especially if Bayern starts, they're going to be definitely be more aggressive from corners and set pieces. So for me, Tom Heaton should be in goal for this particular game. One, for rotation, but also two, to just have a bit of confident goalkeeping, because I think Tom Heaton will be able to deal with the aggressive way that Grimsby Town will want to attack us when it comes to corners and set pieces. As I said, the back three for me would be Yoro and Shaw to keep their places, and Maguire to give De Ligt a bit of a rest. Now, of course, he could start Aiden Heaven, but again, it's a young player. Yes, he has bags of potential and experience in terms of playing in certain games, but again, you don't want to rush these players too early. You rather want him to come on in the second half to give you a bit of cover like he did against Fulham. But again, you don't want to make such defensive changes. So in terms of experience, in terms of the English know-how, you put Maguire and Shaw there, and of course Yoro being our most consistent defender thus far. I think to continue to alive develop, you could play there. Tyler Fredrickson could come on in the second half. Now, Patrick Dorgu, Ahmad, right wing and left wing back respectively. Let's just put that out there. And in midfield, I'll talk a bit about the Kobbie Mainoo news with David Ornstein and what has been said with regards to Kobbie Mainoo and Manchester United. But for me, I'd go with Kobbie in midfield with Ugarte. We need legs. We need a bit of energy. We need a bit of ball playing in that midfield. Ugarte will give you the aggressiveness in terms of pressing, closing down, tackling, etc. He needs to leave the ball playing to the ball players and give it to them as soon as he can. Not try and turn on the ball and try and play passes that is out of his skill set, if I have to put it that way. So that is my midfield tool that I would go with. Give Casemiro a rest, who's played every game and came off in the second half but hasn't really offered much. So again, he should be getting a rest. Bruno Fernandes, after the bad game that he had in my opinion, should be rested for this game. And again, you don't rest Bruno Fernandes. He never gets injured. He's never tired. But again, there's no reason to play him in this particular game unless you want to bring him on in the second half. You have Kobbie Mainoo, who definitely can play as a ball-playing midfielder, similar to what Ruben Amorim wants from Bruno Fernandes. And the front three, for me, give Mount another chance. He's been playing well so far for us when starting. So play him in the left end, play Mbumo in the right end to continue allowing him to get matchupness, sharpness, and fitness. And I need Benjamin Sesko to start this game. We can't keep bringing him from the bench. He needs to start playing from the start with his teammates and getting used to them. And of course, getting used to the English football style of play, the culture, etc. This particular game will give him a lot of experience with regards to how it is in England and English football. That's my starting 11, who I believe Ruben Amorim should be going with. Now, this is what you guys are probably waiting for, because a League Cup game against Grimsby Town, should basically be a win for United. Let's be real here. We can't be losing to Grimsby Town. But that aside, that is focus for tomorrow. Right now, what you saw in the thumbnail, David Ornstein has brought it out that Kobbie Mainoo is considering leaving Manchester United. And it's simply because Ruben Amorim does not see where he fits into the team, into his team. He could play as a left 10, we know that. He could play as a right 10. We've seen him play as a false 9, but not doing so well there. But his main position is that in midfield. And Amorim did say after the game against Fulham that he's competing with Bruno for minutes in that particular position. And again, it's not really a competition because Bruno never gets injured. Bruno never gets substituted. So how does Kobbie Mainoo get into the team if Ruben Amorim sees him as playing in that one position? I do not want Manchester United to be selling Kobbie Mainoo. But the way things are going, with the way the club is in our minds and in their minds probably, needing money in order to buy players, in order to buy a midfielder, in order to bring in a goalkeeper, etc. And of course, strengthen in other positions if need be. selling the likes of Kobe Mainoo does look like a tantalizing prospect for the club from a business sense. And I'm kind of disappointed and concerned with Ruben Amorim, and I'm having doubts with him being Manchester United head coach, manager, because how can you not play Kobe Mainoo, first of all? This is a player who has shown his qualities at the highest level, playing in a Euros final with England and having a good tournament at that. Before that, man of the match in the FA Cup final against City, scoring the decisive goal. We know how he won the game for us against Wolves. We know against Olympic Lyon in the Europa League, his equalizer to make it 4-4. I mean, exactly, yes, it was just 4-4 because Maguire scored the winner 5-4, if I remember correctly. But Kobe Mainoo has the ability to play for Manchester United. He has the talent. He definitely, we know, has the mentality for it because he is a big game player and has showed his ability in big games. He needs to play. Amorim cannot, for the life of me, I don't understand how Ruben Amorim is not playing Kobe Mainoo and saying that he can't find a place for him, and this is why Kobe Mainoo is considering leaving. That in itself is alarming. Since when did Manchester United allow our world class academy talents just to be a sellable asset? This is not the way Manchester United does things. Our DNA literally says youth, courage, success. That in itself should be what Manchester United must be building upon. Ruben Amorim needs to be using our academy talents, and Kobe Mainoo is literally up there, in my opinion, with the likes of Arda Güler, Jamal Musiala, Lamine Yamal, etc. All these young players that are going to be at the top echelons of football for years to come. And for me, Kobe Mainoo, I don't see him anywhere else other than at Manchester United. And if Ruben Amorim cannot see him in his team, then I think Ruben Amorim needs to fix things and work it out, because we can't be losing Kobe Mainoo as a player for Manchester United. Ruben Amorim needs to find a way to get him in the team, or Ruben Amorim just needs to play him next to Casemiro, next to Ugarte. He needs to do that, because against Fulham, he took Casemiro off and put Mason Mount next to Bruno. Why didn't you put Kobe Mainoo next to Bruno? It doesn't make sense. The decisions that he made, as I said in my previous video, was baffling. So a lot can happen between now until the end of the transfer window. There's only a couple days left, but we certainly are in a bit of a pickle, in my opinion. As a fan, you can ask any Manchester United fan, I do not think that they would want Kobe Mainoo to leave Manchester United. I don't want Kobe Mainoo to leave Manchester United. Ruben Amorim needs to sort it out, and he needs to fix the problem that we have in midfield if we are not going to bring in another midfielder. He needs to solve these issues, because if he cannot and we don't get results, he is going to lose his job, and we're going to start from square one with a new manager, different system, etc., etc., and we'll have to start the ball from the beginning to get it rolling again. Anyways, Grimsby Town next. It is a bit of a downer to end the video on, but I want Kobe Mainoo to play in this game, and let's hope that we get a win. We have to win, let's be real, if we want to have any sort of chance of winning a trophy between the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. I personally win the FA Cup over the Carabao Cup, but in these times where we are now as United, a trophy is a trophy. But you let me know in the comment section about your thoughts on Kobe Mainoo and him potentially leaving, and of course Ruben Amorim not really fancying Kobe Mainoo as a player in his starting 11 or in his squad. Please get involved in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and I do appreciate all the love and support that you guys do give to the channel. Have a wonderful day further till we see each other again soon in the next one, Red Devils. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.